everybody. This is Sarah, and I'm at my home with my two kids. Luke and Lily are going to be helping us make a couple of dishes. We will get started in just a little while. We're going to wait a little bit longer for a few more people to hop on, and then we'll get going. Luke, you're going to have to move. Oops. Over here. Over here. Hey, if you guys have been like us, we've been at home for quite a while, and cooking is a really good way to not only entertain the kiddos, but also to do a little education with them too. You can definitely incorporate math into cooking with your kids. Dealing with fractions, you can always talk about measurements and what those fractions mean. You can also do converting, so converting tablespoons and teaspoons and cups and ounces. So there's a lot of ways that you can actually teach in the kitchen too, besides for just making really yummy food. Today we're going to be making taco puffs and also lemon up some lasagna. So if you're like me and you currently have some Girl Scout cookies at home, because it feels like we always have Girl Scout cookies, we have a fun use for those cookies that taste delicious too. So we're going to start. I've done a few things to kind of prep ahead of time, so that'll make things a little bit faster because there is a little bit of prep. But I'm going to have my assistants here helping me as well. So Lily, she's going to be our official meat stirrer. So in our pan here, I have I'm actually using ground turkey because it's something we had in the freezer. It's been in the freezer for a while and it needs to be used. So why go to the store and risk catching something when I can just pull stuff from my own freezer? So, and that's saying our oven is ready. I'm preheating that at 400. I just said that's the oven. It's letting us know the oven is warm enough. But we don't need to put our food in there yet because we don't have it cooked. But right now we are going to brown up that ground turkey. Turkey is also a leaner meat too, so this will make the dish a little bit healthier for you too. Also, if you are using things like ground turkey or ground chicken, I also added a little bit of oil to the pan because there's not a lot of fat to that kind of meat. That way it's not sticking to the pan and it helps it brown a little bit better. So Lily, she's going to be here stirring this meat up. And it's always important to talk about safety when you have your kids helping with anything that is stove related because it is hot. So you always want to make sure that you have our handle turned away from you so you're not accidentally bumping that handle and then possibly spilling the pan. So you always want the handle away from you so you're not going to bump it. And she's going to be using her spoon here to mix it up, so keep stirring it up every once in a while, Lily, to make sure that the meat's getting brown on all sides. So go ahead and stir. There you go. Because we want this to be cooked through. We don't want to have any pink in the middle of our meats, so we want to make sure we get this nice and brown. Things with like poultry especially, you have to make sure you really cook this. It's not brown yet. You got to keep cooking. So you're going to stir it every once in a while. Let it sit. You don't have to stir it the whole time. So we'll just let the spoon sit there and let it cook a little while. And while we're doing that, a few other things to remember when working with fires. You do have to be careful if you ever do accidentally touch something that's hot and you get burnt. To treat that, hopefully it's just a small burn. All you have to do is just put your hands under cool water. It doesn't have to be freezing cold water, just cool water. And that will help relieve some of that pain of the burning. You can also wrap a cool towel over it too, and that's going to help with that. You can apply some aloe vera. That's going to help to make it not hurt as much. But if it's a severe burn where you're seeing lots of blisters, discoloration, you definitely want to have it looked at. But most accidents that are in the kitchen, I've been burnt, they're nothing major. If you do blister up, make sure you don't pick at those blisters. Leave them alone. Let them do their thing, because if you pick that blister open, other bad things might get inside of there. So always be careful around fires. And if you guys ever have an instant where flames get out of control, and you're cooking something, to put it out, don't use water. You want to use some baking soda. If you use water, you're basically going to spread the flames. You want to use baking soda instead and just sprinkle that. Don't worry if you ruined your dish by sprinkling this on it. You'd rather have your kitchen than have...
It's brown.
Nasty tasting food.
Oh,
It's brown? It's starting to brown. Yes, it is. There's still quite a bit of pink in there, so we're going to keep browning this until all that pink is gone. And we're also kind of crushing it up some too, so there's not a bunch of big chunks in it. That way, when we put it inside of our taco puffs, we're not just putting big old things of burger in there. We're going to put smaller pieces in there. So we're going to keep letting that cook up. While we're doing that, we're going to do some prep work with our dessert. And like I said, we're going to be making a delicious lemon ups lasagna. So the lemon ups, we're going to start working on the crust part of it. So with the crust, you're going to need some melted butter. So I've pre-melted some butter. And then you're going to take a package of our Lemon Ups cookies. And there's different ways you can crush these. You can throw them in a Ziploc bag, have the kids crush them, or use a rolling pin to crush them. I personally like to use a food processor because it's just a little bit faster. It's a little noisier, but it's a lot faster. So I'm just going to plug that in.
Oh, whenever I cover my ears.
You're going to cover your ears. Lily doesn't like the loud noises, so as you can tell, she's covering her ears because she knows what's coming. Whenever I have appliances, I never have them plugged in unless I'm actually using them. We don't want any accidents happening in the kitchen. I'm just going to do our little chop a couple of times. And you can decide if you want to have some big chunks of the cookies in there, you definitely can, and you can stop there. I like to have more of a graham crackery textured crust, so I'm going to crush mine a little bit more. There we go. And then I'm just going to go ahead. I am done with it for now. And then I'm going to have Lily pour the melted butter inside of the food processor. So go ahead and dump that in. It is a little warm, so be careful.
Oops.
It's okay.
All of it.
All of it. Very good. Thank you. And then I'm going to close up the lid again.
Oh no. Cover up.
And then just pulse that a few times just to mix that butter in. And now we have a nice buttery crust. I'm going to unplug my food processor because I am done with it.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to take this off and I'm going to have Lily help. She is going to pour the crust in and then I'm going to have her smooth it out. I'm just using an 8x8 casserole dish. You can use a pie crust if you want. I just think it's easier to serve from this kind of dish. Okay? Lily, I'm going to go ahead and dump that in, and then you're going to use the spoon and kind of smush it down in there, okay? While I stir up the meat.
I kind of can't use that. I too. Can I use a spoon to get some of it out?
This spoon's right there. So just use that spoon and get out any of the extra crust.
In my hand. It smells good.
It does smell good. It smells really lemony and buttery.
That was wrong.
And our burger is almost ready.
And was really ready.
There's just a few more pink spots, so we're going to let it cook a little bit longer.
I'm going to smush it up.
Smush it all the way. Make sure you get all the way to the edges. Oh, Amanda says hello, Lily and Luke. Jacqueline says hi too. Hi, Jacqueline. Okay. Now I'm going to help you spread it out just a little bit. There we go.
I really want to eat it now.
You really want to eat it now? Mm-hmm. Now, an important part of cooking is taste testing because you never want to serve something that you don't want to eat. So we should probably sample some of the crust, shouldn't we, Lily?
Yay! Yeah!
Okay, so there's some extra crust on the counter and in here so you can sample it. I'm going to pop this in the fridge, actually the freezer, because it's going to help firm that crust. And it just makes it a little bit easier when it comes to putting the rest of the stuff on top. So I'm going to pop in the freezer while Lily samples and tells me how it tastes.
Oh, right here.
So what do you think, Lily?
This like a lemon cookie.
Tastes just like a lemon cookie. Good.
Kind of
That's
more
what we're
lemony.
shooting for.
Kind of more lemony.
It's more lemony than the lemon cookie. So the butter made it taste even more lemony. Yeah? Lemony is a word, right? Sure. Okay, so our turkey meat is brown. There's no more pink, so it is time to move to the next step with that. And then we will finish up our dessert after we finish up with the rest of our taco puffs. So, the next step is to take a packet of taco seasoning. If for some reason you don't have taco seasoning, we always have it in our house because they love tacos. You can easily make up a taco mix using things like cumin, paprika, salt, pepper, different things like that. You can go online. There's tons of recipes where you can make your own, and you possibly already have those ingredients. Okay, so we're going to put this packet in. Lily, you want to dump this in?
Yes. And where? In there?
In the meat, yep.
Okay. All of it?
Yep. And you're just going to follow the instructions that are on the packet of the taco mix. So this one does say to add a little bit of water to it too. And that's going to help keep it from being really dry. So I'm going to get a little bit of water and dump that in as well and stir.
Like it. That's a lot. Get some over here. I got some salt.
That all? Okay. Go ahead and stir, Lily.
Okay. I love these.
Now, because I did use turkey, I don't need to strain the meat because sometimes if you use beef, there's going to be a lot of grease afterwards.
Ooh,
With
I
turkey,
dropped them.
it's a drier one, so we don't have to worry about adding, but straining it to get the grease out. So this one I was able to dump the seasoning right in.
Can I try some or not?
Let's mix it up. So you do want to warm it up a little bit while you're doing that. It's going to help thicken it up a little bit and get that seasoning to stick to that turkey.
Whoa.
Or beef or whatever you're using.
Or taco meat.
Well, taco meat today is turkey meat. Okay. So that's looking really good. The next thing we're going to do is start flattening out our biscuits that we're going to be putting on our cookie sheet and adding that taco meat to. That's looking really yummy. Love taco puffs. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut it off and let it start to cool down. That way, when it comes time to put the meat on the taco puffs, it's not going to be quite as hot for us. So we're going to be putting the biscuits on. I put foil on my sheet. It just makes it a lot easier to clean up afterwards. Because if you're like me, I am sick of doing dishes. When you're feeding children 3 times a day, those dishes really add up. So this will just make it a lot easier with the cleanup process if anything spills over. So I have a cookie sheet lined with foil, and then we're going to spray it with some oil. Just to keep things from not sticking to it, hopefully. That way when it comes time to serve it, it makes life a little bit easier.
Is the gel ready?
And we're going to need cans of biscuits. And I use the jumbo biscuits that are butter flavored. I usually don't go with the flaky version because sometimes if you get the flaky version, they have flaked layers. Sometimes those layers separate, and then your taco puff might kind of explode and open up, and then it's a big mess, and it's not handheld anymore.
Like a balloon?
Like a balloon. Doesn't quite blow up like a balloon.
Oh.
Alright, so we're going to open this up. I'm old school. I like to bang this on the counter. Help me bang it on the counter to open it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Ow. Watch your fingers. There we go. So we got it open. And we have washed our hands already.
I feel my bone.
You feel your bone? Did I get your bone? You're going to take your biscuit and you're just going to flatten it out. Now, a trick I like to use, is spraying your hands with a little bit of that oil first. Because then the biscuits don't stick to you as much. So put your hands out over here.
Okay.
Your other hand? Well, just rub your other hand. So spray a little bit, rub it, and that's going to help keep those biscuits from sticking to you. And you're just going to spread them out.
Can I?
Flatten them out. Yep, you work on that one.
Okay. Ooh, look like there's peaches inside it.
Looks like there's peaches inside of it. Well, it's actually butter inside of it. And that's going to make it be a nice and yummy biscuit.
I love biscuits. Biscuits are my favorite.
I know they are. You always want biscuits. She is a big fan of biscuits and gravy, which we tend to have quite a bit on weekends. She loves to request it, and as soon as I start making up that sausage, she comes in asking if we're having biscuits and gravy. So she knows when we're having it. Okay, this recipe will make 8 of these taco puffs. There you go, work on that one.
Okay. Okay, right up some more. Oh, this one's really cold.
It's really cold.
It's like it got ice inside it.
Like they have ice inside. Well, not quite ice. They've just been in the fridge for a while.
And why did you cook them?
You don't want to cook them ahead of time because then you won't be able to put the taco meat inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Work on that one.
Yay.
We almost got them all flattened. And once they're flattened, we're going to put some taco meat on there. And then we're going to flatten more biscuits and put them on top.
Yay, I love cooking biscuits.
She loves cooking biscuits.
One's done.
Okay, I need to adjust my spacing a little bit.
Now do you put on the top?
Nope, we haven't put the meat in yet.
Oh.
You know that.
I don't
Put it right there.
Right here?
Yep. Will you please go through this way for me?
Okay. And a cycle or trash can?
Alright, so we already have our oven preheated. It needs to be heated to trash can. It needs to be heated to 400 degrees, so that's all set for us. Okay, and we have our biscuits nice and smushed. And then we're going to put some taco meat on top and then sprinkle it with some cheese because you can't have tacos without cheese. So let's get our meat.
Yay, meat. Meaty meat. Wow. Let's use a spoon.
We can reuse our spoon.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you and then you're going to do it.
Okay.
So you take some taco meat, be careful because it's a little hot. And put a spoonful on top, okay?
Okay.
Keep going, Lily.
Whoop.
There you go. Good job.
There we go. Didn't burn my fingers.
It's okay.
Whoop. But
There you go. Good job.
there we go.
Now with this recipe, you can add chopped onion too if you'd like. My kids tend to pick at onion, and I just didn't have a non-squishy onion. So I didn't add onion. There's plenty of seasoning in the taco mix, so I don't think it's really something that you have to have if you don't have it. And while Lily's putting that meat on, I'm going to start opening up the other package of taco meat, not taco meat, but the biscuits, and start squishing those for her. Good job, Lily.
Need one more piece. There you go.
Okay, and there's still quite a bit of meat left, so I'm going to put a little bit more on there
Okay.
because we want to have some really meaty taco puffs.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. You just don't want to overfill it so much that you can't actually put the top biscuit over the top. So you do have to kind of be careful about that.
Woo. Can we flatten the other biscuits?
You can start flattening the other biscuits.
There you go.
There we go.
I'm
Put the
going
taco meat in there. And then we're going to sprinkle with cheese. You can use cheddar cheese. I had some nacho and taco blend cheese, so I'm going to go ahead and use that because it really goes with that theme.
Can I? I'm gonna.
You want to sprinkle the cheese on?
Uh-huh.
Okay, you do the cheese. I'll do flattening the biscuits.
Okay.
Again. Okay?
Okay.
So if you're a big fan of cheese, don't be afraid to pile that cheese on there. Everybody loves cheese in our household, so Lily, you need to add way more than that. You know we like more cheese than that. Go for it. Add all that cheese.
Not all of it.
Well, not all of it. But really, to make 8 of these, just a normal 2 cup of cheese will be enough to cover it all.
Yeah. Now for the other one. Oh, I need a couple more on this
A couple
one.
more pieces of cheese on that one.
Ooh, did that rhyme?
It did.
I said rhyme.
Now this recipe is super simple for kids to do, so you can definitely have any age help out with this. Just make sure you're supervising if they're helping with anything related to the stove or the oven. If you're doing the onion, of course, there's going to be chopping involved too, so always be careful of that. Older girls, you can definitely have them learn how to use knives and cutting the proper way, making sure they're not putting their fingers in the way. It's good practice for them, supervising them, watching them. You can also just throw it in the food processor, which I like to do, because then it gets really small, fine, and the kids don't even notice it's there. So you can be a little sneaky sometimes and sneak onions in without the kids knowing. With the knives, of course, always be careful and making sure that the blades are staying away from the girls. If any, or boys, because Luke, he likes help too. He's obviously too young to use a knife though. But if anything did happen where there is a cut, make sure you clean the area really well, because if you think about what's been on that knife, you don't want it on them either. So make sure you clean the area really well. If it's bleeding, to stop the bleeding, you can put a rag over it. If you have gauze, you can put it over it too, and just add a little bit of pressure, and hopefully that should keep that blood from flowing. Raise it up a little bit too above your heart will help. And then take a look. If it's still bleeding, add more gauze. Don't take that gauze off, put new gauze. You want to keep that old gauze on there because that's going to really help it. And then if it's something that does stop bleeding, just throw some antibacterial cream on it and then a Band-Aid and you're set. If it's something serious where you can't get the blood to stop flowing, that's definitely when you need to make a trip to the hospital. But we're not ever going to have any issues like that. Lily's looking a little concerned. We're always safe in the kitchen, so we won't have to ever worry about anything like that happening. Right, Lily?
I don't want to go to the doctor.
No, she does not want to go to the doctor. Okay, we are almost done getting these taco puffs put together.
Oh, can I put the last top biscuit on?
Yeah, you can put the last biscuit on. We throw this away, and then I'll give you this. Put it on.
Okay.
This recipe, we actually discovered it doing a Girl Scout activity. Lily's troop went to Hy-Vee, and they had a cooking class, and this was one of the things that they made. Okay, go ahead. Good job. And then once you get that biscuit on top, you're just going to seal it. So just kind of pinching it down. You could also use a fork and kind of pinch the edges together. We just want to make it so that those seams are kind of sealed. So hopefully once these start cooking and rising, the stuff inside is not going to come outside. And it doesn't have to look real pretty either.
I got a question too.
What's your question, Lily?
You don't only need to put your name now cheese every time when you make these.
Yeah, something that they did do at Hy-Vee, they had the girls, because they wanted to know whose was whose, they had the girls either make a design or write their name in cheese. So Lily, if you want to get a couple pieces of cheese, you can put your name on one of them.
Okay.
That way we know that that is Lily's.
I think they need to be long. Yep, these need to be longer.
Okay. Well, that's all we have. So you'll have to make do with that. Alright, so we're going to say these are good. So you can see they're nice and sealed up tight. And they look delicious. I'm going to pop them in the oven for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, not that really long.
No, 15 minutes is not very long at all.
I'm going to eat some of the cheese.
Okay, you eat some cheese. Because you got to sample the product, right? Yeah. Okay. So while that's cooking, we are going to work on our lasagna. So ahead of time,
Jello's done?
I made some Jello. So there's a little bit of prep work ahead of time. You're going to take a packet of Jello, the little 3-ounce size, and you're going to just put it in. You're going to boil a cup of water, put the Jello in there, stir it until everything dissolves, and pop it in the fridge and let it set a little. You don't want it to be completely set. So you just want it so it kind of wiggles and jiggles. Kind of reminds me of the consistency of slime. This was sitting in the fridge for about 20 minutes. Now if you had a taller, skinnier container it was in, you'd probably need to be in there a little bit longer because this is a shallow dish. It's going to cool a lot faster. So we have our Jell-O that has been in the fridge for a while. And then I also went ahead and started creaming some cream cheese. So you're just going to take a block of cream cheese, put it in here, and then we're also going to add some sugar to it because life is better when things are sweet. So we're going to add a little bit more sugar to us. So we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of sugar to this bowl, and I'll have Lily get that for us. So we have...
Can I hide this bowl?
Yep, so go ahead, scoop it and dump it in.
Okay. I love sugar. Super sugary. Ooh, sugar, my favorite.
Now, was that a full measuring cup, Lily?
I think it was.
You think it was. So it wasn't quite all the way full. So it's really important whenever you're cooking that you do the right measurements. With this one, it's not such a big deal. So I'm just going to add a little bit more sugar.
Can I try some sugar?
You're not going to just try straight up sugar. So we have our sugar in with our cream cheese, and then we're going to mix it together for a little bit. So I have my little handheld mixer, and it's not plugged in because I wasn't using it. So now I'm going to plug it in. Always make sure it's unplugged before you put the paddles in, just in case some glitch happens. You don't want to get wrapped up in one of these. So I'm just going to cream this together a little bit. Okay, so that looks really good. We're going to try to set that there. Put this over there. And then next, we're going to whip in the gelatin. So Lily, you can go ahead and pour that Jell-O in there.
But is it like slime?
No, it'll go in. Now, if you're not a lemon fan, you can make some alterations to this recipe. So if you don't really care for lemon, you can add other flavors to this. So if you're more of a strawberry fan or cherry fan, you can use that Jell-O. And instead of using lemon ups, you can actually use trefoils. So they're more of a generic flavored one. So it would go really well with any other type of Jell-O flavor. You want to taste the Jell-O? My goodness, you want to taste everything. Well, let's wait till we have everything mixed in, and then you'll get to sample. So I'm going to whip that in. So I'm going to use the liquid. Start on a low setting because there's a liquid in here, and we don't want it splashing everywhere. Okay, and you don't have to do a lot of whipping with that. We are done with our mixer now, our blender now, so you can go ahead and unplug that. And then I'm just going to scrape the edges and do a couple of stirs to make sure it's all stirred together. That looks good. And then we're going to add some Cool Whip.
Can I put the Cool Whip in?
You want the Cool Whip in, yeah. So we're going to add just some plain old Cool Whip. And we're going to add half of it. So I'm going to make a line right there. So you can put all this Cool Whip in there.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Half of Cool Whip comes right in.
Just tap it. Move your hands. There you go. Good job. Keep going.
Okay.
And if you're making this, and if you did maybe keep your Jell-O in the fridge too long, just set it out on the counter for an extra 10 minutes or so, and it will stop Jell-Oizing, and it'll get a little bit more runny. So don't worry if you overdid the Jell-O and maybe forgot it was in there. You can also pop it in the microwave for a few seconds at a time to make it more of that liquid instead of that solid. Okay, a little bit more of it, Lily?
I'm here.
You're here? Okay.
Yeah, I washed my hands. I pooped and I washed my hands.
Thank you for washing your hands. That chunk right there.
Whoa. This is some big thing.
Okay, that looks good, Lily. Okay, and next you're going to fold in your Cool Whip. So you don't want to whip it or use the handheld mixer, because if you do
Where do you put it?
use that, you can lick it if you want.
Okay.
she can sample. You just want to fold it in. You don't want to overwork it, because if you overwork it, it's going to get flat on you. So we don't want that to happen. So we're just going to mix it in, fold it in, until it looks like this. So that's looking really good. And then we're going to take our crust out of the freezer, pour that in, and then we're going to top it with the rest of the Cool Whip. So make sure you don't use that spatula you're looking, Lily.
Yummy.
So we at least know that the Cool Whip tastes really good. Okay, so we have our crust.
Yay!
We're going to pour our filling in, and then we're going to do another layer of the Cool Whip. Luke, do you want to help scoop it in there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No.
Scoop it. Use this.
Okay.
You might want to get a little closer. There you go. Good job. Go. Get it all in there.
Until the Taco Puffs are done.
We still have 7 minutes before the Taco Puffs are done. Okay, good job. And then I'm just going to scrape the rest of it off of there.
Alright. That looks really yummy. It looks like a cake.
Looks like a cake. It does look really yummy. I'm super excited to eat this after supper tonight.
Me too.
Okay, so we're just going to spread it out, level it out some. You four. Okay, so we have all of that. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put the rest of that Cool Whip on top. I'm going to clean up my area a little bit so I can actually work. Excuse me, Lily. And we're going to use the spatula Lily did not eat off of. And just dollop that Cool Whip on there. And then we'll spread it out. Just so that there's different layers. That's why they call it a lasagna, because there's multiple layers. It's not just one layer of everything. There's multiple layers to it. Now, something I just realized I forgot to do. Normally, I save a little bit of the cookie crumb. I take it out before I add the butter, and then I sprinkle the top before serving. It's not necessary, though, because it's more just for decoration. I don't know. Well, I guess it adds a little extra crunch to it. Make sure you don't put it on until before you're about ready to serve it, because if you put it on and then put this in the fridge, the cookies are going to get kind of soggy. They're not going to be crunchy anymore. So if you do plan on doing that, just wait until you're about ready to serve it. So we have our Cool Whip on there. So you can see we have our different layers. We have our crust, and then our filling, and then our Cool Whip on top. And then we're just going to put this in the fridge. You do need to refrigerate it for a couple of hours to really let it set. That's going to help that Jell-O set and firm up. And then once it's set, you can take it out and serve it. And this is really yummy. Like I said, I like to use a square pan versus a pie pan, just because it's easier to serve with the crumbly crust. Also, you can kind of control your servings a little bit more too and get more out of it. So instead of the 8 pie slices, you can get 9 of these slices. So I'm going to put this in the fridge so it can start to get cold.
Are we done yet?
Are we done yet? Does it look like we're done? Do we have anything else? You don't know? Well, we are.
Taco Puffs.
The what?
The Taco Puffs.
The Taco Puffs. So the Taco Puffs are still cooking. They have another 5 minutes to bake, but I am going to talk about a few more things, and then I'll pull them out of the oven, and hopefully they'll be done so you can see what the finished product looks like. So, excuse me, Luke. Why don't you go watch some cartoons with Dad? So if you are a Girl Scouts and you are working on some badges, just by doing these activities, you have earned a few steps for some badges. If you're a Brownie, we did talk about some safety things. So you completed step number 4 for first aid. And then if you're junior, you also completed number 4 for first aid. And then for Brownies, for the snacks badge, you completed number 3. And for juniors, you completed number 3 and 4. So you guys did earn a little bit of your steps for your badges. Now, Luke, can you please take the fire truck and put it back so it's nice and quiet in here? Thank you. Okay. So we also have some other things coming up too. If you want to see some other stuff that we have on Facebook, we have a few other things that are on Facebook Live. And I just realized you guys might be looking at this reverse. I didn't quite plan that one out. But on Friday, we have Tap Into the Herd, and that's at 12 o'clock on Facebook, so it's a Facebook Live. And then on Monday, you can see Audra, and she's going to be doing some STEM activities. On Monday, she's showing you how to turn milk into plastic, and that's going to be at 3 p.m. So just come to our Facebook page, and we'll be live with those. We also have next week, I will be doing another one. Again, I really feel bad. These are probably reversed for you guys. But you guys could figure it out, right? So the next one is Girl Scout traditions. And I'm going to teach you guys all about swaps. And we're going to make a bunch of different swaps. So that'll be a lot of fun. And for all the different levels of Girl Scouts, that will help fulfill requirement number 5 for Girl Scout Way. So that's a really great way to help fulfill one of those steps for Girl Scout Way, and it's just a lot of fun. So I hope that you're able to join us for that. If you need the supply list, these are all the things that you're going to need to make. I'm going to try to do 3 or 4 different swaps. It just depends on how much time we have. I think we should have time for 4. I'll also post this information in ways that you can read it when this video is complete, so look for that. You can also go to the link that goes to our website, and it has all the information. It will also have all the ingredients that were needed for this recipe so that you can hopefully recreate this at home. And like I said, this is a great recipe. Well, both of them are great recipes to use for your entire family. So it doesn't just have to be your Girl Scout in the family. It can be the other parents, it can be brothers, sisters, whoever. Really fun, easy recipe to do. And we have about a minute and a half left on the baking, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it out so you guys can see what these taco puffs look like when they're done.
But not yet, Mom.
I know. You need to go back.
Oh,
Thank you.
ooh, they look really yummy.
Oh, they do look really yummy.
Hey, why is a tiny W on one?
So it does look like there's a W on one. So this is what they're going to kind of look like when they're done. This probably needs to bake a little bit longer just to make sure that the dough is cooked all the way through, because you don't want to eat raw biscuits with this.
Raw biscuits? I'm not eating the raw biscuits.
No, we're not going to eat raw biscuits because we're going to cook these all the way through. So we'll keep letting those cook. Hopefully you guys are able to try this recipe at home. And I look forward to seeing everybody again next week, Wednesday, 3 p.m. And we will teach you how to do some Girl Scout swaps. So thanks again. Enjoy your day. Have fun cooking.